Welcome to the Top 200 podcast with your host, Herschel Foran.
What's up, everybody? It's Herschel Foran from High School Top 200, and this is the Monday Morning Media Podcast. Welcome back for another episode. Getting down to our final seasons, but you can still jump onto my all of my socials, just so that we can get this all out of the way, on HS Top 200 on TikTok and Instagram, and High School Top 200 on Facebook and also on YouTube. And then jump onto my website on hstop200.com. $5 subscription, monthly subscription. So if you can sacrifice one of your coffees and jump on for all the information and everything that that is First 15 Rugby, I try and put out to everybody. Found a few glitches in my website, and I was updating all the rankings, and I didn't actually know that it wasn't getting updated when they went live. So it's getting fixed, and then all of them will totally update, and they'll look so much different because it's gone through like 3 or 4 different processes of changing, and none of them showed up. So what's happening then is that in the off season, I'm going to 100% change who's doing my website, and hopefully it's going to have a different look and a different setup and a different function, and everything will run a lot smoother. And so I'll say goodbye to the guys that take care of it now, and I'll find some other guys to jump on and do it. And just a big apology to everybody out there that's been waiting for these things. I did the same kind of change that I do every single week that I have for the past 2-3 years, and it's changed every other time. For some reason, the last 2 months it hasn't changed. Don't know why. Those guys don't tell me why. And so that's kind of where we're at. So once they get it fixed, you'll see this automatic change to all the rankings, and then you'll find out that a bunch of guys have been changed out, a bunch of guys have been put back in, a lot of young guys have been put back in, a lot of young guys changed out. Year 11's totally switched around, Year 12's totally switched around. So for some reason the player rankings just weren't getting changed. I don't know why. I'm not into that nerd stuff. I wish I was, because then I'd do it myself, but I'm just not. So yeah, you'll see the changes from there. Let's get into this week, because I'll just want to touch on what happened over the weekend. Obviously we already saw that Southland Boys had gone through, being Christchurch Boys, and they had already set themselves up to make this travel up this weekend for top 4. Now we had the Chiefs, the Blues, the Chiefs, and the Hurricanes to decide what was happening. I went to Wesley and Rotorua first. Went to watch my Chiefs boys first, and just like a short summary of what happened. And the way that I went into this thinking was that Wesley had already played Rotorua before. Rotorua beat them by a bit, and was a well-formed running team, even the first time that they played them. So I was expecting a lot of the same thing, and it just didn't happen like that. They were down 6-5 for the longest time in this game. I felt like Rotorua stuffed up a lot. I felt like they weren't playing the same game they usually played. I even have this kind of thought that they came in it with a bit of arrogance, knowing that they've beaten them before, and that they thought that there was just going to be a walk in the park, and at some point the momentum was just going to change. And it just didn't happen like that. And Wesley, as the game got on, got better and better and better, and Rotorua was kind of looking for answers and kind of weren't even finding them, weren't even able to find them. Going through the forwards, couldn't get over it, because even the Wesley forwards matched up well. Wesley forwards went to them 100%, just a physical game. Even when Rotorua was dominating them in the scrums, they were getting outdone at their own game, which they should have had easy. And for me, the saving of that team was down to Cody. And if it wasn't for Cody and a couple of scrums, a big hit, a big turnover, a few good runs within that last, I think it was around 15-12 minute area. He had like a good sequence of like 4 plays that I feel like he changed the game for his side. And he had been playing so well the whole time. And I'm talking about Cody Renata. Like, I think if it wasn't for him, that game would have ended with Wesley winning. And I put it on Cody for the sequence of play. And I can't really remember what the minutes were in the game. I think I probably have to go back and rewatch it again because I was there live. There's no like accurate kind of timer there, but there was a sequence of play there where he made a couple of big hits, a turnover, had a big time scrum, had a bit of a run with an offload. There was also a play down sort of near the opposite side of the field that the camera was on, and he made some big plays down there off a line out, I think it was. But yeah, and like for me, it was like what he did was what kind of changed the game. Then old boy getting knocked out, coming in for a big hit, which he was actually open to make that big hit. It's just one of those things that, everyone's moving so fast and so quick that when he went for his hit, he got his head stuck in the wrong place, and then, lights out kind of thing. And he was there going for a big hit. Could have been either way, but he just came off second best. But that was also a big turning point in the game too. Wesley played so good. Wesley battled pretty much to the end, and if Wesley had won, I wouldn't have been annoyed at that outcome, because they played so well and they made Rotorua boys work harder than they actually should have. And so if they end up winning that game, I would have been like, yeah, that's totally fine, I guess. Then I went on to Kings, Westlake. Obviously, I was choosing Kings because that was my number 1 team in the country, and had been for a while. Westlake had some bad games, dropped in the rankings, ended up in that 12 to 14, 16 kind of area ranking. And I mean, I apart from the rankings, and I say this all the time, is that like rankings are just what I thought you were based on the last game that you played. And obviously the rankings are finished now and they've stopped moving. But Kings ended up being my number 1 team. Now, just because you're ranked where you're ranked, you still have to play the game. The ranking, once the whistle blows, doesn't mean anything, because finals footy is just finals footy. Turning up on the game, turning up on the day to play the game is what we want to watch. We don't want to watch rankings. We just want to see what the rankings are, and then go, all right, let's see if he's right or not. Because I don't think he's right, or I think he's right. He explained it this way. That's his opinion. Cool. But when the whistle blows, it's like all of that's out the window, and just like, let's just see what happens. Now, what we saw was a dominant forward pack from Westlake Boys. Out-muscling, being physically better, controlled the scrums, and defended way better than what Kings did. Rucks were dominated and cleaned up by Westlake, and the fact that Arlo and Travis and Solomon just were all over the field making tackles. They couldn't stop Matt Fleming. Nico was a bit too much for them. Leith had a massive game. Cole Kaiva was probably one of the best players on the team for Westlake, the big prop. Tuli Manu. I mean, even Harry Cornelius, he played good too. Like, I thought he had a pretty good game. Jacob Carter was massive, and he had the normal kind of mean game that he did. But Harry was right there with him. But yeah, it was pretty mean. It was a pretty mean game to watch. Kings left it too late. If you saw from the last play of that game, I got most of that run, and then like the dude in front of me just jumped, put his head up, and then all of a sudden we just missed the last thing. But from the other guys that I saw from that I talked to, they were standing around that area, said that he didn't get it down and that it was a knock on. So I don't know, that's just what it was. But this also brings me to the point where we got to get these games on TV, man. We got to get all these games on TV. Auckland, bloody bite the bullet and just say that you guys are wrong and put these kids on TV. They all want to be on TV. They all want to be on TV. They all tell me, it sucks that we can't be on TV. They all ask me, how do I get to a Super 8 team? Because they're the ones getting shown on YouTube, but no one's seeing us. And a lot of boys who are year 11 and year 12s are asking, how do we get to the Super 8? How do we get to the CNI teams? Can we get scholarships to go to those teams? How do we get into these teams? And like the easiest thing you could do is apply. Apply to any of those schools that you want. Put on your application that you're a rugby player, you paid first 15, and I'm guaranteed they're going to get back to you. Private schools and everything. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about how you're going to pay for it. Apply. Work all that other stuff out later. Just because you apply doesn't mean you have to accept. When you apply, you're just saying, I'm going to apply, then you can decide whether you want to leave or you want to stay. You know, going to a Super 8 from a 1A or 1B and 1B boys, you guys in the 1B, if you want to leave, just apply to a Super 8 team. Apply to a Super 8 school, get there, get into the team, work really hard, make sure you make the team, get fit, because that's what the Super 8 is based on, fitness and really technical, your technical game and your positioning, you'll be fine. Most teams have, most schools have boarding facilities, so you can try and get into there. Napier's a great school to go to. Rotorua Boys is a mean school to go to. New Plymouth, a mean school to go to. Hamilton Boys, of course, so is Tauranga. I think the only one that don't have boarding houses is Gisborne and Hastings, but I know that they've all got places where players go and stay. So if you guys are looking at getting out of there, apply to all the CNI teams, apply to all the Super 8 teams, and just see what happens. Just because you apply doesn't mean you have to accept it, but if you want to know, apply to those teams. Get on TV, be seen. That's exactly what you want, be seen then. You're not going to be seen if you get stuck in the 1A and the 1B. But that game needed to be on TV. That game needed to be seen by everybody because it was such a high-skilled game. Westlake proved to everyone that they're still there. And the other thing is that it proves to you that, for example, right, Rangitoto beat Westlake a few weeks back. And with Westlake beating King's College, you would say at some point, Rangitoto would be able to beat King's College. And I know it sounds silly, and I know a lot of you guys, wow, that's a bit of a stretch. It's like, well, if Rangitoto can beat Westlake, and Westlake can beat Kings, why not the other way as well? You get someone on your best day, they're having their worst game, you're having your best game. Of course it can happen. Of course it can happen. Well, why can't it? This is why, to me, having a different structure of a national top 4, to me, needs to happen. It needs to be different. It needs to be teams traveling, playing different schools that you've never played before, not just sticking to your own region, have it different. But with this win and the continuous victories that Westlake have had over 1A schools in the past 5 years, bloody put those two competitions together. Make it a stronger competition. Stop being so arrogant. Get your egos out of the way. Add Westlake to the 1A. Add Rosemary to the 1A. Add Rangi Toto and Massey and Whangarei boys. Auckland teams, get out of Auckland, man. I don't see why it's so. You have to be so stuck in that way. Like, you're all part of the Blues. You're all part of the same region. I don't know what the big deal is. You play it all at under 15s, but what Westlake has proven is that those teams over the shore, they can beat some of you guys in the 1A. And if you mix those two competitions up along with the 1B, you just have a lot more competition at a higher level. You get more teams playing each other at their own levels. Like, think about having Mangere play against Kaipara. Mahurangi playing against, like, Sir Edmund Hillary. Like, why can't I have that? Why can't you have Orewa and Otahu play against each other? Like, I don't understand this, you know? I don't understand it. And, you know, I have my thoughts on Waikato too, making a different competition within the Chiefs region of, like, the schools that are kind of left out. I have my thoughts on that too. But with Westlake winning, you've got to give it up at some point and go, yeah, Westlake should be in this. We've got to join the North Harbour with the 1A competition, have better teams put together. We're all part of the Blues region. We all want to make under 18s for the Blues. We all want to be as good as we can. And like, if you don't, like, everybody in the Blues region should be cheering for Westlake. Regardless if you're from the 1A or not, you should be cheering for your Blues counterpart, you know, your Blues school that is out there representing you guys. You should be cheering for them. And if you're not, then it's salty ass, man. That's salty ass. Same thing with Feilding. Feilding just too strong. Too strong for Hastings. Too much firepower out wide. You know, just running amok. Rupeni's too good. You know, James is too good. Alani's too, you know, the Whakawā brothers, Goodman, Luke, you know, Luke and Kanye, all those fellas, just too good. Penny Javier's just too good. So much speed, played with, like, you know, just real fluid, real, like, flowy in the way that they play at Feilding. So, you know, it was a good game. Got a bit out of hand, but, you know, Hastings did their best. Like, you could see how much they wanted it, and it just wasn't meant to be. And Feilding back in the top 4 again, second year in a row. Massive, you know, massive opportunity. So, let's. So, let's talk some of these matchups, all right? I want to talk some of these matchups because, I think, I don't think anyone else can really talk about this besides myself. In a way that, like, I have watched all these teams so much, watched all these players so much, I feel like I have, like, a really good indication on how these guys play and what they're going to do. So, I'm going to give you what I think each team is going to do, and if I was coaching against that team, how I would stop them. Okay, so let's take the first game. So the Blues and the Hurricanes face off. Blues and the Hurricanes face off. So that's Westlake Boys and Feilding. Or should I do the other one? No, yeah, I'll stick with these two. I'll just do these two. So Westlake and Feilding. For Westlake, their biggest asset to the team is their defense. I think Westlake, having one of the best loose trios, and Travis, Arlo, and Solomones, like those three guys, control everything that happens in the team. Everything that the team does comes from those three, whether it's Travis making big runs, Travis running off the back of the scrum, him running off either Luke or Nico on the inside or outside of one of them, and he will make these big runs. If Travis makes that big break, that team just rolls on. Arlo takes care of everything from a defensive side. Around the rucks, him and Solomon are just really good players. Once the tackle is made, two guys are always over. If you don't clean them out, they're going to get that ball and they're going to steal it. That turnover is going to happen. And it's not easy. If Arlo was there, it's not easy. I personally would take him out. I would target him. I would make sure that when we have the ball and he's making a tackle, he's cleaned out first. Because he's, to me, is the danger man. And you can't have him and Jeremiah over the ball. You can't have him and Kaiva over the ball. You can't have him or Hugo over the ball. Because if Solomon and Harry's over the ball, you have lost that game. You have to be there straight away to clean them out. You have to be the first one over the ball. You can't let these guys get into those rucks and dominate the physicality side of it. You can't let them dominate the ruck of having more guys there, because they will clean you out. They will march over the ball. They don't fall to the ground. They don't have penalties. They're just really, really good at what they do. And if you're going to run at them, do not run high. They will hold you up. And then they will support each other and you're getting another turnover. On the other side of that, when they're running the ball and their attack, I would pressure Levi. I would pressure Nico and Matt. Because if you don't push up too hard on those guys and you give them too much space, I think I got Matt twice on, if you watch some of the stuff that I filmed, and if you let him run, and please don't let him fool you by looking at Matt and going, oh, you're skinny, bro. Also, you're not going to run past me. You're not fending me off. You're not getting anywhere past me. Do not think that way about Matt. I'm trying to tell you now, do not think that way about him. Do not look at Nico and go, oh, you're skinny too. What kind of midfield is this? Because trust me, they're both going to punish you. And if Matt punishes you, it usually turns into scoring a try. Now, Matt's year 11, there's a reason why he's my number one year 11. Kings kind of found that out too. Because they just couldn't stop him. And they have Saya and TJ there. Two really, really good midfielders, and they couldn't stop those two. Now, I would put the pressure on Levi. I would make sure that that ball doesn't come out that clean. I'll put the pressure, push up really fast on Nico and Matt. Hopefully you can push a pass out so that Ollie gets it at the back. just so that you can go, okay, we just want to make sure that these guys know that we're going to pressure them. They have to figure out another way. Whatever that way is, we'll adjust after that. But I don't want Levi getting that ball out fast, him picking and choosing like to go towards the line and getting that ball out. Once he steps to the line, please hit him. Hit Levi. Don't let him do that. Levi Leith, to me, is one of those hard done by halfbacks that should get a lot more praise. And next year, he's going to be a problem for everybody. So, I'm telling you now, do not let him get any free kind of range. Do not let him step towards the line, then decide what he's going to do. Pressure him all the time, make him pass on the base. Because if you let him creep up all the time, he's going to punish you that way. Don't let him get a clean pass out to Luke, and so Luke just passes on. Because remember, Luke's a really safe player, and that's great at what he does. To be safe, to be smart and go, oh, no, I'm here to pass the ball along and to look at my opportunities to kick downfield, and when I find them, I'll get it down there. And Luke's not one of those guys that's going to be like, oh, I'm going to do a step here, I'll draw these guys in and make a pass, and all that guys. Like, no, he's pretty calm in what he does, and he does it well. Just don't let the ball get into Nico's hands and Matt's hands. And then, if it does, don't let the Fijian winger fellow, he's only year 11 as well. Hard as nails, bro. You're not going to hit him. And even if you do hit him, he's going to stand back up. Nothing's going to happen. He's fine. He'll just roll over, get back up. Israel or Yusrael or something like that is his name. But that's what I would look for when it comes to Westlake. They're too good to let them do any of that kind of stuff. Make sure Kaiva doesn't get any big runs. Clean him out first. Stop him before he gets any kind of pace. Jeremiah, watch out for him out on the edge. He's too good of a player. And I would just make sure that when those bench guys come on, like for example, that loose forward trio, if it changes, you'll see Boston come on. He's another guy that you just can't, like, I think if Boston was at another team, he could start pretty much everywhere else if he wanted to. He's that good of a player. He's just stuck behind three guys who are they're just too good to leave off the field, and that's just how it is. Daniel Pye is another one. Morgan Seymour is another one. Just make sure you watch out for those guys. Harper Wilson, also Luke, who comes off, usually goes into, sometimes will go into the wing. If he goes into the midfield, they'll change it around. Maybe, what's his name? Nico at the back. They'll switch it up a little bit. But, yeah, just be careful of that kind of stuff. But for me, that's what Westlake does, and how you would be able to get at them too, is just like make sure you really put them in check. Don't give them anything for free, and good luck, to be honest. That's kind of what it is. Because even with fielding on the Fielding on the other side is like one of those teams where if you look at them, if you look at them from like the perspective of who is this country team, then your mindset's already lost. You know, you can't look at Feilding, and if you don't know that Feilding's not a good team, if you think that they're just a trash country school, then you're not really paying attention to First 15 rugby and how good this school is and how many rep players I've had over the years. And for the longest time, they weren't in the top 4 because they had a co-ed section. And most of the time, they just used to go into the co-ed section. They were just put in there. Now that everyone goes through the top 4, 2 years in a row, they've made it out. You know? And this is such a well-drilled, strong team that plays to their strengths, and they don't make too many mistakes at all. And this is not a team that panics. Really well controlled. They're not a team that panics. They're not a team that is an easy team to get under. They don't really play like that. They don't think that way. Something goes wrong, they fix it up within themselves by forwards taking control, finding a place on the field where they can reset, get back into their own rhythm, start it again, and then they'll carry on from there. They don't panic. So don't think that they're going to be that kind of team where you can pressure them to do something that they don't want to do, because they just won't do it. You know, they won't do it. That's just not how they play. Now, obviously, Alani Whakawā is, to me, the best player on their field. He's the captain, he's the leader, he's the heart and soul of that team. He's the guy that goes forward all the time, and he is going to hit and smash and wear down your forwards. Then he's got his little brother, Tavita's going to be there, as well as also Lucas Goodman, who Tavita and Lucas are both props. They're both year 12s, and next year they're both going to be up for New Zealand secondary schools. And I would not be surprised, and I'm just saying it now, I would not be surprised if both of them actually make it into New Zealand secondary schools. Both of them are such really good players, smart boys, hard runners. You're going to see these three guys play the middle of the field like league players and dominate running the ball. They're going to dominate breaking tackles. They're going to dominate cleaning out rucks, which goes well with what Westlake is like, because these boys play so close to each other. That battle is going to be really interesting to watch, to see who beats each other to the ball. But all three of them are hard to put down. It's not like an easy thing just to put them down on the ground, you know. So that's going to be a pretty good watch in terms of how that works out, because Alani is not an easy, like him and Jeremiah's battle is going to be interesting to see if they actually match up, if they mirror each other. Jeremiah usually goes up wide. Alani can play in the middle field or go up wide if he wants. Also, Alani's not one of those guys that throws on the lineouts and then stays out on the edge. He'll come closer to the action, because the more that the ball is in his hands, the better that team is going to be. So I would try and cut him out. I would try and force him to stay away from the ball. I would force him to be the guy that cleans rather than be the guy that carries, and try and cut off his access to the ball. I would try and do it like that. Do not let him pick and go from the base of rucks and stuff. Like it's not about him making heaps of meters. It's about him continuously moving up his team. He's just a hard dude to stop. Too strong, too powerful, and he plays the whole game at 100%. Not a kid. He's not a dude that gets tired, and he's not even small. He's a big dude. So is his brother. But they all play at 100% the whole time. It's just a really fit team, this Feilding team. Then you got the other thing that you have to watch, and that's obviously Rupeni. Now, Rupeni, to me, This is where I think that Westlake have to make a decision on, do we have someone follow him? And if Rupeni hangs out in the back line, and if he is sitting around James Tuituba, and they hang out on that right side, and I'm just warning you that they will get the ball 100%. You can't stop the ball getting to them, but you can move up quicker and try and disrupt their flow. If the ball gets to James, make sure he doesn't get it to Rupeni. If Rupeni gets the ball first, make sure he doesn't get the pass off to James. And if you see Penny Javier sort of lurking behind them, target him too and call him out. Because once he gets the ball, off an offload of those two, he's making 15 to 20 meters down the field, and he's always searching for things to do. He's always searching for those opportunities. Too smart of a player just to leave. So if you see James and Rupeni, who are going to be on that right side together, do not let those two pass the ball to each other. And if you see Penny at the back behind them, lurking behind them, identify him as well. Make sure someone calls his number and says, hey, I've got James, make sure you see Penny. If Penny creeps over on some of those plays and you see him run, bro, target him straight away. Always somebody call out where Penny is. Do not let him roam around without him being seen, because he's going to destroy your team. He's going to find those open spaces. He's going to make sure that your line has to move towards him. He'll run sideways 3 to 5 to 7 meters and then just cut back in and then look for a pass. It's not even about him. It's about him moving your guy's line along and then finding that guy who changes the angle, and he's going to find that pass out to that guy. You just don't want to be in that situation that happens. Because once that happens and Feilding get that go on, you can't help that you see someone like Austin come across and help. Joseph Nikolai's always going to be there. Someone like Dante Brown is always going to be there. And these are guys that are not superstars within the team, but they're the guys that make everything else work. And they're going to be there straight away. They're just really, really hard workers. And I think when you have like the hardworking guys like Van, when you have like Van, Austin, Dante, Monty, sort of those kind of guys in the team they don't want the ball, they don't want the glory, they don't want the highlights. They just want to take every clean ruck at a time. They want to make every tackle at a time. They want to try and bash your team down to tire you out, because those fellas are going to go all day. And so to me, it's just like, yes, you have a side that's you've got all your hard workers, but then when those superstars get that ball, all of that is created by all these hard workers. You know, all these hard workers like Monty and Monty and Austin, Van, those kind of guys. They're always going to be there to set you up. Probably Kanye is probably another guy that you'd probably want to watch out for at 9. He's not extra quick, doesn't really have a clean pass, but he's so playmaker minded that he's not an easy guy to sort of judge. Like, don't see his role as in, oh, it's just all mechanical and stuff, because Kanye will switch it up and put in a grubber somewhere. He's not going to be that guy that sort of just goes through the sort of motions of everything. Tyrese is kind of the same too. At first five is that Tyrese and Kanye, both of them are super smart players, really controlled kind of guys, and are not scared, and they don't hesitate to play what they see in front of them, even if they're, the call is something different. They've both played enough games for the first 15 to know what their role is and what the coaches are comfortable in them doing, and where the trust comes into it. So if you see Kanye and you see Tyrese is another one that he's not just going to give it to Nixon, Foreman, or he's not just going to give it to James just for the habit of giving it to them. He's good enough to go, oh shoot, this is not on, I'll just take it in, I can trust that these guys are going to come clean now, we'll just start this over again. We'll get this back into position, we'll start over again, we'll look for our next opportunity, and we won't panic so much on this. Tyrese is great at doing that, and it's like he's not going to do something silly to where everything gets stuffed up just because something's not open. James will also adjust himself to make sure that he gets the ball. Nixon's such a smart player that it's the same thing. Nixon will also put in some of these little chips and grubbers over the top, so you better be ready to turn around and chase back. Just know that they're going to be on you straight away, and that counter ruck is pretty heavy and pretty dangerous, to be honest. So I think that'll be kind of something that you want to watch out for too. In terms of picking who's going to win, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to pick Dow. That's just silly. Goes to
go!
Still got to watch the game. The next one with Rotorua and Southland Boys, the Chiefs in the South Island. Stronger roster for me would be Rotorua. To me, they have the stronger roster. To me, they have the stronger team. But I think all the X Factor guys are on the Southland team. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, right, Jimmy Taylor is one of the best players in the country, one of the best first fives in the country. He's moved up quite a bit in the rankings, and I thought Alapati was probably the out and out first five. I'm not so sure about that anymore. And Jimmy Taylor is a name that should also be in that frame of, I would also pick him as my starting 10 if there was a choice. Like, he's not a guy that I would, and like when you watch him play, he's not one-dimensional. He's really calm and collected when he has the ball in hand. He will try different things. He's not opposed to going backwards to go forwards. And just his guidance and his talk on the field in terms of direction and making sure that everyone knows what's coming next is like really, really important. I think is like a massive asset that he has. Even the fact that he can look downfield and find open space. He knows where to get the ball to the grass to make sure he can pick up more meters, turn guys around, and he's just one of those guys that he just has everything. He'll make a break like nothing, like he's just one of those players that you always feel comfortable when the ball is in his hand. And he'll be one. And of course you got Zeke Hammond Ciolo, who's probably the other one that you don't want the ball to go up to. Not only is he a big winger, but he's strong and he's fast, and he doesn't just run into contact. He's not trying to smash through people. He will make the smarter play, use his fend, keep his body away. He doesn't underestimate small players, and so he treats every single player the same. He just finds out what's the best way to get past them. Whether you're going to roll over him, go around him, fend him off. But when he has that extra little bit of space and time, he makes the most of the whole opportunity. And it is not uncommon for him to score 2 tries in a game. And he's probably the other guy that I would really, really watch out for and make sure you always kind of have tabs on him. And like this whole backline for Southland Boys too, starting from Komoda, like at 9, going to Jimmy, Finn Hurley and Caleb Harvey are usually the midfielders. I would watch out for Caleb Harvey. I think he's really underrated. He's only year 12. He'll be back next year, along with Finn Hurley as well. I think Jack Brocker is also year 12. I gotta double check. But anyways, those 3 as well. The midfield of Finn Hurley and Caleb Harvey is massive. I hope that Caleb gets physical. I hope that he shows his grit, his defensive side, does a lot of work around the rucks and around the boards. Not a lazy player at all, which is really why I like him so much at centre. But I hope that they show more of him in that way, because along with that backline of Jimmy, Zeke, Caleb's the next one that I would put a lot of trust into. Apart from like Cohen, who is that connecting between the forwards and the backs. I would look at Caleb Harvey as being that next guy to sort of, put the ball in his hands and see what he can do. Really, really good defensively too. So I don't think there's a lot of things that you should be worried about. And as long as they sort of stick with Jimmy, I think they'll be fine. And I think I think when you think of the forward pack that comes from the South Island, you think of guys that are just big, brooding kind of no brain, no nonsense, would just tough it out, smash through everything. With these guys, it's different. Presley's not that same kind of player. Lucas Salesa's a really good ball running hooker, and Corbin Kidder's the great accent after that Luca Salesi run. Like Luca, once he runs, you don't want Corbin to be the second one running. That's too much ground that those two can cover one after the other. And both of them look like they're unfit. Both of them look like they haven't trained all year, and for some reason they can play the whole game and they run the ball as hard as they can every single run. So don't be fooled by these two guys when you just look at them and be like, oh, Has he just come back from injury? It's like, no, he just looks like that. But he's still running around like nothing at the 65th minute. So Corbin and Luca are just big time muscle players. They grunt and grind it through. Presley's kind of the same. Mason Coulthard is one of my favorite locks this year. Jack will be back next year as the other lock, as a year 12. Another guy that I'm kind of really warming up to. And I've watched all of Southland's games this year, and just really, really good players to have around to get into dark places. Force teams to be, force teams to do things that they don't want to do, and then you're going to get out muscled by Mason, Elliot, Josh, Josiah. Like, all these guys are just workhorses, and they will fight for that turnover. They'll fight and scrap within, in the rucks and in the mauls. They put everything into it, and they just find a way to win all the time. They find a way to dominate the positions that they want, and it's usually a solid scrum that comes. It's usually a run off the back, and then it's a shutdown, and then they fight for position around the rucks, and they try and get those first two guys in there, and they all stay on their feet. They all roll over, they all walk over, create that that wedge between those guys, and they just don't stop. And I think that's the problem, is that they don't stop, and other teams are just have a limit to their relentlessness, where these guys kind of don't. Mason's going to go all the time. He's going to go all day. Luke's is going to go all day. Presley's going to be the same. Even when guys like Hunter come on the field, or Mitchell comes on the field as well, off the bench. Simpson's another one. I really like Cooper Mitchell as well. I think he's at 12. He's another guy that I think I have grown to sort of like over the last games or so. And Josh Cairns and Elliot Wilson are probably going to be like the key ones in this game, especially with what Rotorua Boys have, which is another loose forward trio that you kind of don't want to mess with and let them get over you too much. But those guys are going to have their day pretty full when it comes to Rotorua, and even Rotorua going the other way. Rotorua on the other side of it, for them. Now, I think that Jake Hutchings and Tiariki Rogers, as well as Solomon Mailulu, if all three of those guys don't click and don't get into their flow of the game, meaning winning the physical battles, that's running, cleaning out the rucks, support runners, heavy hits, all those kind of things. If those three are not heavily involved in that aspect of the game, Rotorua is going to struggle. If you look at Tiariki, and I think because the first thing that you see is this big, monstrous kid, and you go, oh man, he must run the ball hard. And it's like, yeah, he does. That's the obvious stuff. Now, the other stuff you don't see is him being the first one over the ball, him being the first one to seal off, him being the extra guy that will reach over another defender to then pull somebody out so that they don't get their hands or they get their body into position to get at their ball. And he's that guy that does all that extra stuff. And it's really, because we've got Whakaara Māori recording all the Super 8 games, just watch him. Put on one of his games and just watch what he does. Even if you just sit there and just take notes and just go, he hit a ruck, and at that ruck he cleaned out, pulled out a guy, pushed off a couple of guys that tried to make a second attempt. He made it across the field. He's the second one over the ball, made it across the field again. He took the ball from pick and roll. All these kind of sequences, you don't realize that that's how much things he does all in the game. And you see him and your notes are just full of things that he does, and you just go, oh, this is why he is that good. It really doesn't have to, it's really not that one-dimensional go, oh, it's because he's massive. It's no, it's not what it is at all. It's because he works hard. He works hard all game. You look at Jay Hutchins, he does the same. Puts his body on the line, throws his body into things. He makes tackles. He gets down, tries to get over the ball. He fights for his position. Great in the lineouts. Something that I think that he's gotten better in over this whole year is that even last year he was good in lineouts anyway, but this year I think he's gotten even better in the lineouts. Really, really, really reliable. So if he makes it back in New Zealand secondary schools again, the fact that you can go to him and have that really solid trust in his hands, you're just oh yeah, of course we'll just throw it to Jake. Easy option. And then you got, Solomon there who's just a soldier out there. That's what he does. Runs it hard, tackles hard. Doesn't let a lot of things slip. And I think I'd like to see him play middle of the field a lot more. Kind of like how a lock and league would do. I would like to see him do those kind of roles and just to get stuck into everything. Sort of fly around as much as you can and make tackles. And I think because when you look at the forward pack, having guys like Tyler Phillips, who's year 12 and he'll be back next year, he's really, really good too. Him and Hunter Weaver. Well, Hunter Weaver's been good for the last, 3-4 games that I've seen. He's been really, really outstanding. And so I kind of have this thing where I'm looking at Hunter and then I'm looking at Mason Coulthard and I go, oh, I hope you two smash each other in this game, because it's going to be real fun for us as the viewers, and just to see you two, some of the best locks in the country, go at it and go, oh, cool, we get to see this. And so this Hunter Weaver matchup that I'm secretly wanting to see. But when you look at Cody Renata, Bronson van der Hayden, and then Mason Barry as well. Mason Barry's a kid that's just worked his way up there. And I would like to see this Cody Renata, Corbin Kidder, Luca and Bronson go off, and Presley and Mason. And Mason, and in all honesty, all these guys are great. Mason's probably the one that's a bit out of his league, because all the other 5 guys are really well known and are at this level, and Mason's the one that's not. But Mason also has that ability, and he's on a roll right now with how he's been playing in that team, to sort of make his name and go, oh, I'm going to make my name in the top 4 and everyone's going to bloody see this. And to go up against Presley and Corbin and Mason do a massive job, bro, that would be so good to see. And I hope he's in that mindset of, I'm going to step up, because he's like a grunt. He has, he's like a block, head stuck in his shoulders, throws himself at everybody, runs it hard, really good leg drive, and fights to stay on his feet, doesn't like the, one thing I get sick of sometimes is guys that make contact and then go straight to ground, like almost panic, like, oh shoot, they're going to hold me up. Where Mason is one of those guys that he'll just take the hit, absorb the contact, find a little bit of space, and then drive to that area until he gets put down, until they pull him down and grab him, all that kind of stuff. Great runner. So I hope if his mindset is like, oh, I'm gonna make my name against Presley and Corbin, I'll be like, oh flip, this is gonna be pretty mean to watch. But I mean, Southland on the other side have to stop Bronson. They have to stop Cody. If Cody has another game like he did at Wesley, man, that's going to be mean. But then it's going to be a good matchup where we get to see Cody and Bronson have a go at Luca, Corbin, and Presley, and go, "Wow, this is like a pretty mean matchup that we get to see at top 4, which is kind of like what we want to see anyway." Bronson's just one of those hard guys, just real energetic, and there's going to be this really different dynamic when you see Luca, the way that he plays, and then you see the way that Bronson plays, and how Bronson van der Hayden not only gets that ball into the lineup, but the way he hangs at the back, he controls that drive, really good decision maker, whether to sort of like, oh, I'm going to take this, pull someone with me, we're going to take it and go, or that he just gives the ball out. And I like the fact that he's not scared to go, hey, we're not making these meters, we're getting a bit, disjointed and broken up. And it's like, oh, we'll just give this out, we'll start again. Make sure that we get hit it up in this midfield. So having Bronson at the back, I think is going to be a really big deal, and it's going to be really cool because Bronson's going to be one of those guys fighting for that New Zealand secondary school jersey. Luca is the same thing as well, where I think that both of these guys, along with Aleni and also JJ Yosefo from Hastings Boys, are all really top hookers around the country. And so, I think Luca's another one that you can chuck in there from St. Kennigan's as well. But yeah, they're all at that kind of level. So it's going to be cool to see. Arthur Pep Chisholm is the halfback, and who's come in and done a really, really, really good job. And I kind of thought it was going to be a mistake when they made that change from to Erimana, from him to Arthur Pep. I thought, oh, I don't know if this is the right move, but I can see it now, and I'm all for it. I like his creativity, I like his aggressiveness to the line. He's a bigger player, so he's willing to challenge and get himself through. Really smart passer, and I think the fact that it's him and Tommy Macbeth, I think Tommy's year 12 as well, but Tommy's still finding his way a little bit, and I think it's pretty cool that Heike, McGarvey and Tawaru are the midfield, because I think those two really, really help. Confidence wise, they really help with great options if he does get stuck, and if Tommy does get stuck, Heike's right there, ready to take the ball, and he can make meters just off nothing. And I think that's going to be real important in this, because Heike McGarvey is going to be a bit of a problem defensively for Finn Hurley, and they're going to have to try and sort something out, because if Heike makes those breaks and Finn can't handle that, they're going to have to make some adjustments, maybe get Josh to push out a bit faster to cover those spots, or Jimmy Taylor's actually a pretty good defender as well, even if those two have to change around. But Heike is not like a normal guy to mark up, but too quick on the feet, too explosive once he just changes direction. And then it's not hard because he's such a powerful runner with a really good fend that if he catches you in the chest with his handprint in your chest and he's got options to offload, it's not going to be a good look. And that's where I feel like Southland have to really make sure that things don't blow out, because Tawaro's going to be right there. He's a great supporting runner. He's a great guy to get the ball to, who's not a selfish player, who will always look for Issy. If Luke's around there too, and Issy's probably Israeli Tuitafaiva, to me is the perfect guy to get the ball to, because he can do everything. And I have like a lot of big raps on Israeli and sort of my trust in his abilities. And so like I think that they can get him the ball, and once they can get him the ball, then I think they're going to be pretty safe. But making sure that if that midfield blows up and the midfield starts controlling this game, Southland have got to do something. Tuko Owen's probably another one at fullback that is sort of still finding his feet a little bit more. But yeah, I think this Rotorua team, I think right now might be the favourites. But it's not sure. It's not a done deal. Like I said, you still have to come out and play the games. Watch for Fetu Paul come off the bench as well for Rotorua. I've really enjoyed watching him. Even that Tavaki kid, he's been pretty good too. But yeah, those are just my rundown on the teams, rundown on what I think of all of them. And so hopefully everyone's watching. I'm probably not going to be down there because I've already had my run-in with Sky that didn't like me taking clips of the games and all that kind of stuff. And so they said, hey, if you're going to be down here, you can't do any clips, you can't do any covering of the game, because we have been licensed to that, which I understand, and that's cool. But it's just like, well, why should I go down then if that's the case? Anyways, let me know what you think. I'll be at under 15 tournament all week this week. I might pop down to rugby by the beach as well, because I want to go and see some of those games down in Papamore College. Really love that tournament that they have. So I'll see what happens with my under 15s, and then I'll try and make some time later on in the week, maybe Thursday and Friday, depending. Hopefully my girls got something that I can, bag them off on. I can come to these games. But yeah, finals week, everybody enjoy it. Everybody in their last games enjoy it. But yeah, love you all. Herschel phones up. Later, ball.